So you want to buy a Harbor Freight gun. Specifically, you want to buy a Black Widow Spectrum. I've used this gun for over a month now, painted over 50 to 100 cars. Today I'll give you my honest review about the Black Widow. But first, we're going to paint my motorcycle fender and see what it does so I can show you results before I give you my opinion. So let's get into it. Use PPS system S9 adapter if y'all want to use it with PPS. S9, you can buy them on Amazon, they're $20. Anyway, we just got a random black. You can use any black you want, any color. I'm going black with a 3-stage red pearl on it. So let's get to spraying. Now everybody's different on the way their gun's set up. So however you want to set your gun up, you set your gun up to your spray pattern. But my spray pattern, how it's supposed to be. You need an eye like that. Always set your gun up. But I'm pretty much fluid closed, fan pattern all the way up, roughly 25 pounds of pressure. So let's get spraying. Alright, as you can tell, this is just a solid black base coat. Ain't nothing special about it. I think it sprays base coat just fine. So let's hit this flash. We'll throw on our mid coat. Stay tuned about the Black Widow Harbor Freight gun. Alright, so we're back and we got a custom mid coat made. When I painted my bike a while back, I did it 3-stage black, but I don't remember what toners I put in there to make my 3-stage. So we went in there and we made something. I don't know what it's going to be like, but as far as the Harbor Freight gun, I have sprayed multiple metallics, silvers, and all that. This will do it as long as the gun is set up right. So let's get some mid coat on this and I'll show you what that looks like with the Black Widow. Alright, always test your gun pattern every time. Alright, let's get a little bit of mid coat on here and see what it looks like. Alright, I don't know if you can tell, there's already a red tint to it, and they don't look that bad. So I think we'll do maybe one more drop coat on it, just to give it a little bit, but I'm scared it's going to turn it too brown, so we're going to keep it light. So let's do a drop coat on it and call the mid coat done. Let's do its thing. So and as you've seen, my fender fell off the stand. So I think that looks good, and too much more of that and it's going to change the color completely. As you can tell, that was only one coat and then a drop coat. So let's get you off the stand and get you close. Yeah, it's hard to tell. It did change the color a little bit. It's a little brown, purplish, but that's kind of what I was going for. Anyway, let's get some clear coat on it and bake it, and so we can see what this thing looks like when it's done. Stay tuned. Alright, let me pop back in here before we clear this thing. I just want to let y'all know that I am comparing this to my DV1. My DV1 versus my Black Widow. I initially bought my DV1 first for a base gun, and I couldn't resist the $189 price of the Black Widow. With the Black Widow being $189 and you could buy it at Harbor Freight in stock, I had to try it. Why not, right? So my consensus on Black Widow versus the DV1, you can tell this is a cheaper gun compared to my DV1. My DV1, it's nice, it's just feels more quality, everything in general, like. But then again, you're at $700 versus $200. But I bought the Black Widow to replace my DV1 for base, and I started using my DV1 base gun as a clear gun. And I've been tinkering here lately with clearing with this, and I will be clearing this fender with the Black Widow, and this car I'm also painting at the same time. But DV1 versus Black Widow for price, if you're an everyday user, you can get by with the Black Widow. But if you're going to go buy a gun because you want to paint your car outside under a tree or something like that, or in your shed, or in your front yard, in the driveway, don't go spend money on this gun. I promise you, this $200 Harbor Freight Black Widow is going to give you the same results, if not better than this, or vice versa. Because this gun sprays the same thing this sprays. Set your gun up right, use the right amount of air pressure, make sure your panel's cleaned off and nice and tacked off before you start spraying. I promise you'll get the same results out of your Black Widow as you would your DV1 or your AUXITO or your SATA or the Wacom, whatever you're spraying with. I think Black Widow for $200 is well worth the price. So let's get some clear on this thing, and I'll show you why I think it's worth the price. Alright, so we're using UTEC 4.0. It mixes 4 to 1. So let's get some clear on this thing. I know it looks like a lot of clear, but I'm also painting the whole side of a Mazda right here. 46 Gs. I'll show you all that when I'm done with that. Maybe. I don't know if it's going to look good. So let's get some clear on this thing and see what it looks like. We usually put 2 coats on, so we're going to let that flash for about 5 minutes, put a second coat on it. Alright, we got a bunch of trash in this thing, and I don't know where it came from. Probably this bench, probably hanging close to the wall. No big deal. Ain't nothing to it, but we can cut it, buff it, and we'll do that later today. So let's get another second coat of clear on it. I think I'll do 3 coats of clear since I got to buff a little bit. So let's get this second and third coat on, and let's get it rolling, baby. Let's go. All right, second coat done. Let it flash for another 5 minutes or so, and throw another coat on it, and we'll bake it and see what it looks like afterwards. All right, third coat coming up. That's the third coat, and this is right off the gun. As you can tell, it's pretty slick. Not bad for $200. We're gonna cut and buff all this trash out up front. No big deal. Let's put a flashlight on it, show you what it looks like. Here's the light on it. Man, that is gorgeous. Not bad for a Harbor Freight $200 gun. Don't mind the trash. We're gonna cut and buff that out. I'll show you a little bit later how that looks. But I also painted this Mazda 46G. And if you're a painter, then you know about this 46G. Looks pretty good. But for a $200 paint gun, I think this is the way to go. So let's get this fender, this car on bake cycle. Let this clear dry. I'll show you what it looks like after it's baked up. But to me, $200, you can't beat that finish. All right, let's bake it. All right, now the fender's dry. Dry to the touch. Here it is with the light on it. It looks really good. Now, this trash right here, I'm gonna show you how to get that out. If you're watching this because it's your first time painting something and you bought this Black Widow, well, let me show you how to get that out real quick. All right, so the products you need: soft block or DA, anything in that nature. Piece of 1500, 2000, 3000, 5000, just to make your buffing process a little easier. What we're going to do is we'll get our 1500. You can dry block this or you can wet sand it. I'm going to wet sand it so it don't make much of a mess. Get it wet, start sanding on it, and then you'll see the trash start to come up. So we'll sand this off a little bit and I'll show you what it looks like with not sanding it all the way down, just to show you what it looks like with some trash in it. All right, can you see all that? There's all the trash in it. It ain't the end of the world, we can fix it. That's what we're doing right now. So you keep sanding this trash out until it's completely gone. I put 3 coats of clear on it because I know there was trash in there. So we're going to keep on sanding it until all that trash is smooth enough where you can't see it or feel it anymore. Keep it wet. Now be careful when you start to sand. Don't sand your edges too much. If you sand your edges, you'll cut through it. So keep it light. Every so often, go ahead and wipe it off, get the water off, see what you got left. You don't want to just keep sanding blindly and cut through somewhere. If you cut through, you got to repaint it. Sometimes you can roll an edge on something, but on a motorcycle fender like this, chances of you saving it are very slim. As you can see, we still got some left, so we're going to keep on sanding. All right. As you can tell, the trash is starting to come out a little more and more and more we sand it away. And then again, like I said, be careful. You cut through this, you got to repaint it. And if you're doing this job at home, chances you have an extra paint laying around is probably very slim. But that's all right. Take your time with it. You ain't got to be in no rush. No problems. Keep on sanding it till you think it's good enough. Honestly, at the end of the day, if you're painting your car, you do it the way you want to. It's not up to anybody else on how your car looks. I mean, yeah, there's ways to do it the right way. It's always best to do it right. Anyway, wipe this off a little bit, see what we got. Oh yeah. Yeah. Alright, I don't know if you can see, but we got a couple pieces right here. So instead of attacking the whole thing again, while everything is still wet here, just try to knock those down a little bit more. I don't want to cut too much, because even though there's 3 coats of clear on it, doesn't mean you can't burn through it still. So, no big deal. Let's cut this a little bit more, wipe it off. Oh yeah, it's pretty. Alright, we're going to step up to 2,000, and 2,000 is going to get the 1,000 scratches out. And all that's going to do is help you in the long run when you go to buff this thing out. So, this ain't got to be, you're not trying to cut out trash with 2,000 now. You've already cut your trash out with 1,000 or 1,500, whatever you decide to start with. The 2,000, you're really just trying to get your sand scratches out from the 1,500. So it's not as dull as that 1,500 was. We got a little heavy spot on our clear right here. So we're going to block that out with 2,000, knock it down a little bit. I'm getting close to the edge. I don't want to burn this. Alright, we got our Trizac 3000. Keep it wet, but not too wet, just damp. You want your Trizac 3000 damp. You don't want it dripping water, because it's not going to cut. It's just going to glide over it. When you get too much water on your 3000 or your 5000, like I said, it's going to glide over. It's just going to skim the top. It's not going to start cutting. You can tell it's cutting whenever it's white. 3000 is just going to get your scratches out. Make your buffing process a lot faster, a lot easier. And once you're done with your 3000, it should look a little bit like this. It's going to be shinier. So with that being said, I think that's pretty much good enough. Now remember, 5000 same way. Damp. Don't need it wet. You'll take it, do the same thing. make sure you go over every single spot that you got all the other sandpaper out with. If you don't go over the same spots, you get done buffing it, you will have sand scratches because you didn't step it down far enough in those certain areas. But this was right after a bake cycle, 30-minute bake cycle at 180 degrees. If you're painting this outside, you're probably not going to have a bake cycle, so it's probably the next day or so, or a couple hours later, which is fine. It's all the same. But you wait too long on certain clears, they start to harden up and they're harder to cut. So let's see what this 5000 looks like. I like going to 5000 because it makes the buffing process a whole lot easier. See that? It's almost got a shine already. Yeah, that looks pretty good. See, it's got a shine to it, making the buffing process a lot easier. So let's get some compound on it, see what happens. All right, so compound choice, it's up to you entirely. Just get something that's compound, not polished. You can always go back over and polish afterwards, but if your compound's good enough, you won't need to do polish. So just hit this thing a little bit, shine it up. Make sure you hold it so you don't go flying across your table, your workbench, wherever you're working on that. Let me get this buffed out and I'll get back to you. All right, there it is. That's just a quick 30 seconds worth of buffing. As you can see me right in the reflection of it. Looks pretty good. I will personally go over this with a little bit of polish because this is going on my motorcycle. And next video I'll see of my motorcycle will be at the track at VIR. But with a little bit of cut and a little bit of time, you could definitely have a good look like this. Now, I don't need a big fancy gun to get good quality finishes out of it. So I think it looks pretty good. Let's go out there in the sunlight and show you what it looks like. All right, so outside. Oh yeah, that's pretty. As you can tell, there ain't no polish on it, and there ain't no swirl marks in it. So you can definitely get this out with the right compound. That looks really good, so I'm happy with that. It's a little more purple brownish than I wanted, but I think it's going to look great on the bike. It was matte black before, so anyway, let's get back in the booth and close this video out. All right, consensus about Black Widow versus DB1. For the price, $189. You will not beat the price of this gun. Harbor Freight does have cheaper guns, but if you want quality finishes and longevity, go ahead and get you the HTE Black Widow. It's new from Spectrum. Like I said, I've used this plenty of times on multiple cars, and so far I enjoy every second of it. With that being said, thanks for watching. If you're interested in buying the Black Widow, I'll put a link in the description to Harbor Freight's website. That's my consensus, my opinion on the Harbor Freight spray gun. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. I know this is a little different from my usual videos. We're about to cross over the 4,000 subscriber mark, so I appreciate y'all for sticking around. And hit that subscribe button because I know it's free. And tag along. We can do a lot of motorcycle stuff. We got some RC cars and stuff. So this is part of my motorcycle. And we're going to VIR this weekend. So if you're seeing this on Thursday, and we'll be at the track by Sunday. And we're going to have a good time. So we'll see y'all later. Thanks for watching. Peace.